Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So it's a fresh start to the week. Of course, it is a Tuesday. Yesterday was President's Day for America, so the market was closed. But yeah, fresh start to the week and an absolute bloodbath to start off this week. So let's just talk about it. Let's see what's happening. Let's figure this out as usual, right? And all that good stuff. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. If you guys, by the way, as usual, enjoy the video, find it useful, helpful, informative, don't forget to hit that like button. And yeah, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Do your own decisions, make your own, do your own research, make your own decisions, whatever, all that stuff. But all that being said and done, the market's closing in just about 2.5 minutes. Tesla looks like it'll be closing down about 5%, which is going to be putting us at about 197, we'll say, and a half-ish per share. So let's talk about it, right? What does this all mean? So essentially, Tesla's playing out exactly as we said it would, right? So I remember, so back when, where was it exactly? I believe it was somewhere around here. I think somewhere around here, I talked about, when I was talking about Tesla, I think it closed somewhere around one of these levels here. Yeah, it was just Thursday. No, it was somewhere around this level. I remember talking about how I had two options, right? Either we come down to around 200, bounce back up to around 210, as high as 213, and then ultimately make our way back down, or we all make our way down to 185 right away, bounce up to 200, and then make our way back down even further. So those were my two overall main things that I talked about. People that were paying attention, I'm sure, remember me saying that. Well, it seems like clearly one of them did play out, right? Of the two options, the one where we went to 200, bounced up to pretty much 210 on the dot this morning, actually. And then we're, of course, now falling quite aggressively. So I'm sure a lot of people back holding right now. A lot of people were telling me that we'll never see Tesla under 200 again. I don't know where people get this idea from. It's ridiculous to me. But yeah, a lot of people were very upset with me all the way up here when I was saying Tesla's gonna crash. People were not happy about that, and that's how I know that what, I was probably going to be right. Whenever people are very upset at you in social media comments, you'll realize that's usually when that's most likely what's going to happen, right? It's always the opposite of what everyone else or most other people think it will be. So whenever you get the bulls mad, it's probably going to start falling down. Whenever the bears get mad, it's probably going to start rising up. But nonetheless, Tesla definitely looking pretty bearish today, right? Closing, actually going down a little bit even further, about 5.24% down on the day, which is a decent amount, right? So the most important thing to note, guys, is the fact that we are officially breaking out of this little support. It used to be resistance, you can see here, and then we broke out of it, and then it's acted as a support, support. Even today, it actually tried to bounce today. It caught me a couple times as well, I'll be honest. I did a couple, very tiny trades that I did. But, I did lose, maybe like $50 on trades today because it seemed like it was gonna hold. Like, it was just very confusing here as to whether it's gonna hold, whether it's not gonna hold. They came back down, then went back up, came back down, went back up again. Right here you can see it was very confusing as to what it'll do, but clearly, as we can now, I'm sure, see, it is most likely going to confirm this downtrend and truly begin this downtrend, which I'm personally very excited for. As you guys know, I am pretty much back to being all cash, so I am looking to buy this downtrend. Not yet, of course, but in maybe a couple weeks or so, more, depending on how fast it goes. I don't know how fast it'll be. The hardest thing to determine in these kind of markets is the timing. The timing is pretty much impossible. I have no idea when it'll happen. I'm just confident that this move will happen. It's just a matter of when, not if. That's usually how I look at it, right? So Tesla, the market has officially closed 197.33, which is about 5.3%. It's a decent move down. So the main thing to note, again, like I said, we did break down finally out of this, area. So now we're going to most likely come down to the bottom line, which is this bottom yellow line, which most likely will bring us down, potentially even as early as tomorrow, to pretty much 190, maybe just barely touching the 180. So I want to delete this because this is essentially no longer a factor that is irrelevant now. And I wouldn't be surprised if we ultimately come down to around, that kind of 190-ish area for now, and then potentially get a bit of a bounce to 200, right? So, again, either we come down somewhere around this level here, 190, maybe as low as 185, most likely come up to 200, potentially get rejected, and then I think finally make our way down ultimately to my, main price target that I've been talking about for, about a week or two now, probably like 2 weeks now, I think, that after this uptrend is done, how I think, we'll come down to somewhere around this gap level over here, around the mid, 150s, give or take, something like that. I'll give you something a little bit more precise soon, but this is assuming the bullish structure holds. I want to make this very, very extremely, just blatantly clear. This is assuming the bullish structure holds. This to me will be the bottom. Like, this is like the bottom. This would be the bottom of this coming downtrend, assuming the bullish structure on Tesla holds, which I think is definitely very, very possible, mainly because Tesla did go back over 200 and it did break these kind of, potential swing, highs right here. It would have been extra bullish if it went over 230, but that would be asking for a lot. But nonetheless, the fact that it did go above 200, which, we couldn't over here, which you can argue are, potential swing highs right here, swing low, swing high, swing low, swing high, swing low, right? So the fact that we broke above these levels right here, which is again 200, it's pretty good. That to me tells me that there is a very real possibility that Tesla has officially broken the downtrend, and that this move to the downside that we're about to experience now within the next couple of weeks or whatever long it takes is essentially just a corrective move from this massive rally that we had, which essentially was a doubling in a month and a half, which is just ludicrous, of course, but sometimes it'd be like that, which is just simply a corrective structure back down, which is perfectly fine, perfectly normal, perfectly healthy. But this is again specifically assuming this bullish structure holds. If it does, phenomenal, and I'll absolutely be looking to pretty much go crazy on the shopping spree, let's just say that. But again, there's always the assumption that, of course, it very well might not. And if it doesn't, well, that's not going to be very good for the bulls. And we're most likely going to be coming down to the low 100s once again, if not making new lows. But for now, I am overall optimistic that Tesla, when it comes down, will, of course, make... continue being in a bullish trend. So in case you're wondering, roughly how far low can it potentially go? Again, like I said many times, I will revisit it one more time. This now to me has pretty much like a 99% chance confirmed that this is the swing high, and that this is going to be the top. So this is the bottom to the top, right, for the Fibonacci. And of course, I would personally on average expect a retracement down to around 160, right? Somewhere around 160, can be potentially only 173. Though I think it'll be a little bit lower, but I'm definitely expecting 160, potentially as low as this, pretty much this gap fill all the way down here at around 146-ish. So that would be like my ultimate buying range. Between 160 to like 145 would be like the sweet spot for me to buy in. And, again, assuming this bullish pattern plays out, phenomenal buying opportunity. Just my opinion, just my thoughts. Could be absolutely incorrect, could be horribly incorrect. Only time will tell, of course, right? But so far we've been nailing these moves pretty well, and I'm pretty happy about that. So all in all, that's essentially the main thing I'm seeing. Now, looking at the RSI, you can see the bearish divergence is just the most obvious thing I've ever seen. It's just, even back when we were still up here, like I've been talking about this bearish divergence. It's just, man, it's so textbook, man. It's just, I don't know how you look at this and think anything bullish. I really just don't. It just doesn't, it blows my mind. It really does. It's just so bearish. But yeah, so the bearish divergence is just exceptionally obvious. On the 1 hour, it's starting to get a little bit less obvious, but as we move to the 3 hour, especially the daily and the 4 hour, it's just the most obvious looking bullish divergence in existence. Let's take a look at the 4 hour one. I think it's the easiest one to really notice it. But as you can see, we made this highest point on the RSI, which was around 86 back when Tesla was still at like pretty much almost 180. And then as we continued making higher, we just kept going lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, right? And now we set a new lower low, even though we're still all the way up here at almost 200, and we're all the way down here, right? Just keep that in mind. That right there is just a very obvious bearish divergence. So keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow is also FOMC, so definitely could see some potential, worrying into FOMC before the minutes release at 2 p.m. Eastern, I believe. So wouldn't be surprised to see the sell-off continue a little bit more, and then potentially see a bit of a bounce like I talked about. So in other words, for Tesla, again, I wouldn't be surprised if we come down somewhere to around 190, bounce up to 200, and then ultimately make our way back down finally to the price target. So essentially, overall move would be like this, and then this. Right, something like that. Just a rough example is what I would personally be looking at, and what I am personally waiting on, and I guess waiting for confirmation. But that's kind of the main thing I'm looking at. There's no point in even looking at indicators over here. I'll be honest, I actually don't use these indicators all that often. The one I probably use the most is the Bollinger Band, and even then I don't use it that often. I personally trade, or like not, well, I trade, but like I swing trade. I got a sneeze coming up. Give me 1 second. Excuse me, my goodness. I actually don't use this very often personally. I just do them for the video. Whenever I personally trade, whenever I look at things, the main thing I look at is essentially candles, just price action, resistance, supports, things like that, patterns, channels, and RSI. That's pretty much all I look at. So yeah, I don't really use these that often. I just show them for the video because I know people like them a lot for some reason, other than maybe like the 100 or 50-day moving average, 200. Those I'll maybe use, but even then I don't use them that often. But nonetheless, that's kind of what I'm seeing, guys. So let me know what you think down below. The market itself ain't looking too high. You can see just completely breaking down out of this potential bull flag, just very bearish there as well. Potentially some, potentially some potential, I guess, for the QQQ over here to still potentially be, that's a lot of potential, to be within this little, situation right here, as you can see, potentially maybe let's just say following down to the bottom of this channel, and then maybe bounce. I keep using that word. But you know, SPX and SPY ending under 400 and 4,000 respectively, or not respectively. I guess it would be 4,400 respectively because it said SPX and then SPY. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good for the market. That's, you know, but that's a little bit bearish. That is definitely a little bit bearish. It's not what you want to be seeing. But Tesla, you know, and I said this not yesterday, but I said this like sometime last week. How, you know, the day that we just had passed being last Friday, the 17th of February, right? That's a very common like expiration for options, right? Dates for options expiring, and you know, and there was a lot of steam building up for that. A lot of people that were buying calls for Tesla were most likely buying them for that date, and now that, you know, that date has passed, a lot of that momentum that was, you know, essentially building up Tesla stock and making a rally on top of shorts covering, you know, people momentum trading it and everything, you know, that's probably when the steam will run out. And so far it seems like the steam is running out, and if there's going to be steam on the downward side now, then most likely, you know, there's a potential it'll last until maybe even the middle of March, for sure. Like, that wouldn't surprise me at all, right? I don't think this will just be a straight move to the downside, but I do think that this will be for the next, you know, potentially up to a month, overall a downward move. Like I said, overall somewhere to around 160, 140, something like that. But that's essentially what I'm seeing, guys. Let me know what you think down below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button. A lot of people were very upset at me. Like I said, it was honestly kind of amusing to read the comments, but a lot of people were just not happy with me calling that, you know, Tesla will most likely fall aggressively here from this area. And I think that we're about to start seeing it. I really do believe that this move today has been pretty bloody, pretty aggressive, and really just not that bullish at all. That's just my opinion, though. That's just my opinion. The 1 hour doesn't look as bad, though. I mean, it still has some bearish divergences. It just doesn't look as bad, but it's not looking great. It's not looking great. But the 3 hour, the 4 hour, the daily look atrocious, right? So that tells me that the overall move has begun to the downside, and then the 1 hour and anything below that are telling me that, you know, there is a potential bounce, small bounce coming up very soon, which is probably what I think will happen. Like I said, potentially down to 190, and then most likely get a bit of a bounce back to 200, and then I think from there we continue making our way back down. So let me know what you think down below, guys. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button. Thank you all so much for watching, and of course I will see you guys tomorrow as per usual. Peace.